All right, excellent. Okay, so what we're going to discuss is timeline and reporting requirements, payment, which I'm sure many people are thinking about, extensions, extension requests and project modifications, whether that's modifications to your project, the scope of work, or budgets. We all know that grants are essentially, it's a plan. Your application is a plan, and plans change. Even under the best of circumstances, and it's been a difficult 2 years with the pandemic, 3 years. So yeah, we have sort of mechanisms in place to account for that. How to publicize your grant award, and we'll have time at the end for questions and discussion. And also too, we'll have, definitely feel free to ask questions throughout I will take periodic breaks as I'm giving the presentation. You can also too, if questions pop into your mind, questions, thoughts, you can put them into the chat, and I will stop sort of periodically to address these questions. Okay, so what I want to discuss first is the project start and end date, just so we're all on the same page. So really, this is going to be the period where the work of this project that you applied for, received grant support for, and also when you're going to incur both the NJCH funds and any matching funds. And when I say incur, some people might say encumber or accrue. It's kind of if you're familiar with accounting, it's the difference between sort of cash-based and accrual accounting. So you can incur expenses against your grant as you're kind of receive them. So if we're kind of give a concrete example, let's say a scholar gives you an invoice for $10,000, okay, and you're going to pay that in multiple installments over, the course of a year, 6 months. You would incur that entire $10,000 when you receive that invoice, not when the payment is going out. So that is kind of when you can. That is when you can count costs against your grant. You can even, for example, if your project start date might have been January 1st, so you could already begin incurring costs against the grant, even though you may not have received the funds already. And really, the project end date is the last date which you can incur costs towards your grant, both the costs that are supported by the NJCH grant, but also your cash and in-kind matching funds. And if you might have a surplus towards the end date, we'll kind of discuss that later when we talk about extension requests. Now, there are 3 major reporting milestones with the grant. There's the interim report, which is due approximately halfway throughout the grant period. That's just going to give us a sort of quick, quick summary of your progress to date. The pre-closeout report, that is going to be due 1 month prior to the project end date. And really, if you've kind of been keeping track of the costs of the grant, this should take you 5 minutes or less to complete, including even logging into the system. We're basically just seeing, are you on track to complete the work? Are you going to be able to incur all of your costs by the end of the project end date? By the project end date. And the final report, that is going to be due 3 months after, 90 days after the project end date. Now, one thing I'd like to note is these dates are like kind of auto-generated based on the end date. So sometimes, it might end up on a holiday or weekend. That's fine. If you want some, reassurance, you can definitely reach out to us and we can adjust it. But, I would always say if you need additional time, if you're going to be, 1 or 2 days late, that's fine. But if you're going to be a week late or more, definitely let us know. We can give you additional times to complete the reporting requirements. And now, as of this moment, all of the reports and due dates are assigned in our grant management and application portal. It's the same system that you use to apply for the grant. So it's the same system you use to submit the LOI, apply for the grant. You assign the grant award agreement in it. So all of these kind of milestones are managed within the grant management system. You can even view your application. So sometimes people ask me, it's like, can I view the application I submitted? I want to look at it in reference for either when you're completing the report, or perhaps you're looking to apply for other funding opportunities and you want to kind of review what you had written to us. So you can always view any of the materials that you had submitted to us in our grant management system, actually even after the grant is closed. So even after this grant is closed, or any closed grants that you whether they were awarded or not, you can always view them in our grant management system. I'm going to take a quick stop and see if see one question. Thank you, Gigi. Question. So the grant management system is always accessible at njhumanities.org/portal. So I definitely would recommend bookmarking that address. So when the time comes and you need to review, either you need to complete the reports, or if there's materials you want to review, you have quick and easy access to it. Does anyone have any questions at this moment?
Yeah, I just have a question. You said the project end date is the last day we can incur costs, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so we'll talk about payment. Now, for us to distribute your payment, we do need a signed grant agreement. This is a change from previous years. So we had been kind of limited sort of by NEH guidance, guidelines and restrictions in the past, but as of now, or at least for the foreseeable future, we're going to be paying 100% of the award upfront in one installment. So once the grant agreement is signed, we should be able to process it by early February. But I know in previous years, we would distribute, up, 90% up front, but if, that 90% exceeded $10,000, we have to do a second payment, and then et cetera, and we pay 10% up front at the end. But we're going to be paying 100% of the award up front in one installment. We use a system called Bill. So you will receive an email once we begin processing payments from Bill. That is a legitimate email. So if you have questions, definitely feel free to reach out. One of the things that you can note in your grant agreement is whether you want an e-payment or a paper check. E-payments are quicker and faster. We've had many issues also in the past with paper checks being lost. However, I know that some organizations that the financial accounting, your accounting policies do not let you accept e-payments, so we can provide a paper check if needed. And they will be sent by early February, I believe. That is our target date for sending out the payment. Any questions about that before we move on? Excellent. Okay, we're going to talk about this. This will take a little bit more time. So we're going to talk about extension requests and project and budget modifications. And so it would be when you would need it, what information would we need? So we do allow organizations to request extensions to the project end dates. One common reason for this is you have major project milestones that you haven't met, and you need additional time to complete them. Also really common and often related to that is you haven't committed the entire award or match by the project end date. One thing I'd really like to stress is that we want you to spend all of the grant funds that we are awarding you. Giving us money back really doesn't do us any favors. At a certain point with the NEH, it's a kind of a use it or lose it scenario. So we want to keep this money in New Jersey. So if you are kind of coming towards the project end date and you haven't spent out the entire award, definitely feel free to, definitely, not even feel free, definitely reach out to us. We can kind of help you formulate a plan. Often an extension is part of that. We do allow organizations to make changes to the scope of work and the budget. Now, I'd say for the budget changes, if it's kind of minor changes between costs that were originally in the budget, we don't really need approval. So for example, maybe you put in $500 for travel and $500 for printing costs. And you found that you needed less money for travel, but the printing expenses were higher, or you wanted to pay the, one of the project team members more than you'd originally budgeted for. That's fine. Really, what we're looking to see is budget modifications that would kind of radically alter the scope of work. We do allow organizations to modify the project. That's kind of a last case scenario, but what we want, we have found, particularly during the pandemic, is that what organizations originally planned to do is really no longer viable. So we will work with you if that is the case. We try, I think the best option is to try to complete the projects, as originally planned, or, somewhat close to it. But, really we're looking, if you're going to make sort of changes to the project or budget that would kind of radically alter the scope of work, you should definitely reach out to us. What information would we need in these cases? So for your initial extension request, we were really not going to ask a lot of information. It would really kind of come down to, if you're requesting more than one extension, or you need to make substantial changes, we'd kind of ask for like a summary of the work that you've completed, accounting of all the both request, how the requested funds have been spent, the grant award funds have been spent, and your match to date. I think that's something we can cross that bridge when it comes to it. But just kind of let you know that's kind of what we might expect if you're looking to make any kind of substantial changes to the project or a budget. But as I said, that's hopefully the kind of the last case scenario, particularly as we're winding down of the pandemic. Though I guess I don't want to speak too soon on that. I have a question. Hold on. So it's actually yes, that is a great thing. If there's a significant or radical change to the budget or scope of work, please plan on reaching out to us in advance. We are always happy to talk through and nearly always approve changes, but we do need to discuss them. Yes, this is very important. So if you need to make changes, we can discuss that, but we do need to know in advance for anything that's going to sort of be a radical change to the project as versus what you had originally proposed. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to the next section? Can whoever is unmuted, can you please mute? I get some background noise, unless you're wanting to speak. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, publicity. I've got a couple questions about this. So
excuse me, James.
Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but really quickly, just one more thing about project modifications or extensions before you move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
We ultimately need those requests in writing. You're welcome to reach out to us in advance, but they do have to be written.
Yes, that is an important point. Thank you I should have mentioned that. Yes, we can discuss it, but we will ultimately need all these changes in writing to approve them. One thing I'd like to note too, if you need to make an extension request, you can note it in both, or a change to the project budget. You can note it in both the interim report and the pre-closeout report. So that's one way. If it's time for this, submit the interim report, and you realize that you need additional time, you can indicate that there, and we'll reach out to you and discuss it further. Same thing with the pre-closeout report. We have less leeway once the project period has expired, so it's definitely important to make all extension requests and requests for modifications for your project end date. I want to stress that also as well. Any additional questions, or do you have any additional thoughts, Gigi?
Nope.
Okay, great. All right, so I want to say publicity. So we're going to publicly announce these awards on January 31st. In the notification email I sent, I had asked that everyone refrain from publicly announcing the award. Yeah, you can definitely, announce it internally to staff and board members, but we want to kind of, your public announcements to coincide with ours. So we are going to be posting this on our website and social media on January 31st. One thing we would ask that you do is to kind of share, if you're on Facebook or Twitter is to retweet or share our posts from your accounts. I will follow up later too about this, but just want to let you know that we're going to be announcing it at the end of January. If you have questions about publicity, how to use our logo, how credit should be used. We have grant publicity guidelines available on our website. They are on our resources page. And one of the things that you can also find on our resources page is copies of our logo. We have our logo in 3 file formats, JPEG, PNG, or the EPS file for Photoshop. So those are all available as we speak on our website. And then we have some information about how to use our logo and provide credit to NJCH in there. And the other thing I'd like to note too is while we're talking about sort of publicity and events is we can help you promote events. We have, we will post them on Twitter, on Facebook. We can even, in some cases, put them on our event calendar on our website. So definitely reach out to us. And we also like to attend events as well. So if you have events upcoming, public events, I know some of you have incubation grants, so you're not really going to have much in the way of public events. But if you're doing an action grant or any kind of project that has public components of public events, definitely please let us know, and we will do our best to attend them. And we will definitely promote them if you reach out to us in advance. Gigi, do you think I missed anything?
Nope. There's relevant questions in the chat right now, though. Can we schedule a press release to go out February 1st? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
You're also welcome to use any information from our press release, by the way, when it goes up. There's also a question about how far in advance we'd like to know about events. The sooner we know, the better, but tell us when you know. James mentioned public events. Those are the most relevant usually, but if there's publicly facing information as well, we've been able to share things like if you're doing surveys and you want survey, responses, we've been able to share like, here's our new online digital exhibit, those kinds of opportunities as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be an event. Just wanted to
let you know. That's a good way to, I kind of often use events in the way that NEH defines them, which is probably not how most people in the world would, but I guess I've got the NEH guidelines in my brain, but really any kind of publicly facing thing, whether you may have a digital encyclopedia, digital exhibit, or not just, doesn't necessarily just need to be like in-person events or virtual events, I guess, these days. So I want to conclude. Okay, so the best way to get in touch with us is by email, grants@njhumanities.org. That email goes to both Gigi and I. I primarily will answer the questions about grants, but in case I'm away, you can definitely reach out. Both Gigi and I monitor that account and we'll respond to questions. My direct number is 609-695-4303. That's my direct office line. If you don't get a hold of me, please leave a message. I do, I'm often in meetings. So, if I might miss your call. So yeah, definitely leave messages when you call. And also too, our website, it's a resource that is always available, open 24/7. So we have our grants pages, which information about incubation and action grants, information about our other programs, our resources page, which has lots of kind of materials for the grants. And last but not least, it's the njhumanities.org/portal, which will redirect you to our grant management system, where you can, it's the same system that you use when you apply for the grant. You can access all the reports, you can access your application that you submitted. If you had applied for us previously, you can access that information. So it's all available there. And with that, we're going to move on. I'm curious if anyone has any questions. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, I was a little, would like some more information on how you would help us to promote events. And maybe this is not the time to go into those details, but that's a very interesting topic to us.
Yeah, we would, I mean, primarily promote them on Facebook, Twitter, yeah, so mostly on social media.
I see.
Primary avenue. Or you might reach people that, you might not necessarily be in your network.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A helpful way to do this that doesn't necessarily require you to send us separate information from what you're already doing is to tag us on whatever medium you're using. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you tag us, we retweet, we repost, we send out. We do that as much as possible. And the more often it happens, the more regularly it's coming into people's feeds.
And what are your tags? What is it? Hashtag what?
NJ Humanities. And they're all on our website as well. If you go down to the sticky footer, like at the bottom of our website, you can always find them there too, in case you need them.
NJ Humanities. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What?
Sure. Spelling humanities correctly is always a little shaky. Or maybe it's just me.
I'm going to quickly put the links in the chat.
Oh, thanks, James.
I'm going to Google it right now. And if I know it, don't get anything, I know I spelled it wrong. Oh, I got it right.
So that's LinkedIn, but basically we're everywhere as NJ Humanities.
Yeah.
We're also on YouTube as well.
Oh, yes. I forgot YouTube. Silly me.
I forgot LinkedIn. So
That's why we're both here.
yeah,
And I'm guessing that's Allison over at Whitesbog, asked about connecting with other organizations doing this work. And that is something, that is something we really encourage all of you to do whenever possible. And we're doing things to facilitate that as well. We're having the first of our in-person In the Weeds events, which is about expertise in humanities projects. That's on January 26th. I'm double checking my calendar because I was afraid I was going to say the wrong date. It's a great opportunity to meet other people for other grantees and other program partners from NJCH and beyond, and hear about the kind of work we're doing. Yeah, it'll be really fun. We're trying to have most of them in central New Jersey to make it as accessible as possible. That one's at Piscataway Public Library, one of our grantees and program partners. So we'll be hosting programs like that, both in person and virtually, that give you the opportunity to hear about other people's projects as well. If you ever want to connect with somebody else, you see something that you think might be relevant to you geographically, content-wise, please don't hesitate to check out each other, and we can help facilitate introductions as well. We're happy to do that anytime.
yeah, absolutely.
What was that event you were doing in January, you mentioned at a public library? What was that?
Yeah, it's called Expertise in Humanities Programs. It's part of our series called In the Weeds. James mentioned this at the beginning. It's a skill development and professional development series that we have. The next event is January 25th at Piscataway Public Library starting at 3 p.m. There'll be presentation by some of our grantees and program partners, but also just a sort of like networking, noshing, fun time to chat as well.
Okay. Thank you, Kat. You were quicker than me. I was going to go get the link, and before I did.
Kat, thank you so much. Yeah, connecting with other groups, doing oral history, archives, film, video, general New Jersey history, always good. I could not agree with you more, Allison. Absolutely. Also, I know I could plug all of your organizations without a doubt and all of your projects, but if you have never been to Whitesbog, go to Whitesbog. It's such a great place.
On my list. So one of the things we're also hoping to do other activities throughout, 2023 and beyond to bring people together. We're planning to actually have kind of more of a social event in the summer. That is, that's going to be kind of more of just an opportunity for people to meet, network, discuss their work with each other.
Ice Cream Social will be in June. Stay tuned.
Yes.
Kat, that link that Kat put in does not actually have the location.
Uh-oh. Oh dear.
It's listed
You
at
are
the
correct.
bottom. Well, it's listed
Oh,
at
yes.
the bottom. If you go
It's at
down
the very
you can see the
bottom.
venue, then you'll need to RSVP as well.
I don't see it.
You have to.
I just put in another link and you just scroll down and it says Piscataway.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is also, it's at the very bottom of the page.
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And when you register, you'll also get an email that has it in a more prominent place.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Shorter.
Sorry. Thanks.
No problem.
I have a question about, in the contract, it says that the recipients have to maintain records using double entry accounting system. Is it a formal double entry accounting system that we have, or just if we use our own unique system that works okay for you folks? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sort of on a related to the skills program, where Lost Souls is a relatively new organization, and we're always looking to expand our membership and the professional people that are in it. Does the council provide any assistance in that regard as far as helping us identify people that might be interested in working with us? And
yeah, we can definitely help you with that. I think that would be a conversation to reach out to us directly about.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. If there's anything we can do to help to connect you with somebody with a particular type of expertise, we help with scholar matching. We help find exhibition designers. We're here. We'll do the best we can. We have a pretty decent Rolodex, and often know somebody who'll know somebody, even if we don't know somebody.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I arrived very, very late into the presentation, and I do understand that there is a recording of this. So where would we find the recording? Is that also on the website under resources?
I'm going to send it out to everybody. Yeah, I'm going to send a link to the recording to everyone who received a grant. So yeah, you should receive it. It's going to take it might take a day or two, but you will receive it hopefully by the end of the week or early next week. I think any other final questions? Stop recording.